This is an example of an exam-style parallel lines question. When you are doing these types of questions, you are likely going to need to draw on all of your understanding about angle facts. You will need to know the rules about parallel lines. Where we've got X-type shapes, we have vertically opposite angles are equal to each other. Where we have Z-type shapes, we have alternate angles are equal to each other. Where we have F-type shapes, we have corresponding angles are equal. And where we have a C-type shape, we have co-interior angles add up to 180 degrees. These can be in any orientation, okay? They do not have to match up exactly like this. They just have to be the type of shape that I've described. You're also going to need to know about your angle properties. You need to know that circles and full turns about a point equal 360 degrees. So any angles that meet at this point must add up to 360 degrees altogether. You need to know the angles that meet at a point on a straight line add up to 180 degrees. Angles in quadrilaterals are 360 degrees and angles in triangles are 180 degrees. You will use a mixture of these when you are answering questions like this. If we look at the question here, we have 3 parallel lines. We have lines that intersect those parallel lines. The angle we are looking at does not sit on a parallel line, but on the intersections instead. We, when looking at this question, will try and work out as best as we can an information like a little bit of a puzzle. We can see that X, even though it isn't on a parallel line, it is on a straight line. So we know that straight line adds up to 180 degrees altogether. Therefore, I need to work out what's inside here to be able to work out that one at the very least. Next to that, we have a triangle. That could also help us work it out, as we know that that adds up to 180 degrees altogether. And the angles in each corner are equal to the value on the outside. We are going to need to fill in the blanks a little bit like a puzzle to be able to do this. I would suggest that when approaching this question, that you look for the values that are standing out to you the most. You might take a totally different approach to the next person and still have the same answer. We can see if we look at this value here, we've got 113 that is sitting on a parallel line. The nearest parallel line to our X value is here. If we join those values up, including the value that we have on the 113, notice I went beyond the parallel line to include that 113, we should be able to see that we have an F-type shape. That means we have corresponding angles. That is equal to that. That means this angle here is 113 degrees. In turn, we can see that we have a straight line here as well, which means the angle on the inside here, when combined with this there, adds up to 180 degrees. So if we calculate that value, we've got 180 take away 113 gives us a value of 67 degrees. So this value on the inside there is 67 degrees. If we can now work out the angle in this part here, we can combine those and it will give us the value on the outside. Okay? The angle that we haven't used yet is at the top, so just change the colour. we can see we have 38 sitting on top of that line there. This is the nearest parallel line to that x value we are looking for. If I join those values up, making sure I include the angle I'm looking for, we can see that this angle there and that angle there form an F-type shape. So we have another corresponding angle, meaning that this angle here is 38 degrees as well. You may be able to at this point see another shape emerging where we have these lines intersecting each other, giving us an X-type shape. Now we can see up here, vertically opposite angles are equal to each other. That X-type shape means that this angle and that angle are equal to each other. And this one is 38 degrees. Now you have two options, as I mentioned earlier, that this angle and that angle will add together to give you this external angle there. So if I add those together, I have 67 plus 38 gives me an answer of 105 degrees. If you do not spot that, it is absolutely fine, as you also have a triangle. Okay, so if you didn't spot it, it's absolutely fine, because you'll add those together and get 105 degrees. And take those values away from each other. 180 take away 105 gives you 75 degrees, meaning the angle on the inside is 75 degrees. And when you take that away from 180, you end up getting 105 again. Okay.